The story you are being told is a simple one. You hear that President Trump's tariffs are punishing automakers. You hear that Honda, facing billions in losses, is taking $15 billion dollars and moving its future to Canada. You hear that America is tough on trade and that Canada is stealing jobs. This is the story on the surface. It's a story of conflict, of tariffs, of winners and losers. But that is not the real story. That is the misdirection. The truth is, the tariffs are just noise. They are a symptom, not the cause. The real story, the one unfolding in quiet, high-stakes meetings in boardrooms from Tokyo to Toronto, is not about an assembly plant. It's not about the last 4 years or even the next four. It's about the next 50. It's about what lies beneath that $15 billion factory. It's about a shadow war. A silent, high-stakes geopolitical battle being fought for the raw materials, the processed minerals, and the strategic geography that will control the entire 21st century economy. And in that war, America is being dangerously outmaneuvered. You can feel it, can't you? You see the headlines, you see the political chaos, and you feel the ground shifting. You remember an America that built the world, an America that was the undisputed industrial giant. And now you see a nation seemingly distracted, fighting battles over yesterday's industries, while a new, profound, and far more critical battle is being waged for the industries of tomorrow. While Washington has been distracted by short-term protectionism, by the theater of tariffs, Canada, its quiet northern neighbor, has been executing a brilliant, methodical, long-term geopolitical strategy. They are not just attracting factories. That's what you do in 1980. They are building the holy grail of the modern economy, a fully integrated, vertically aligned, mine-to-vehicle electric vehicle supply chain. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on this strategy. We are not here to talk about the noise. We are here to show you the machine. We will expose how Canada is methodically positioning itself as the indispensable, non-negotiable anchor of the entire North American continent. And we will reveal how America's greatest strategic vulnerability, its crippling, decades-old dependence on China, has become Canada's greatest economic opportunity. This is not a story about tariffs. This is a story about power, about who will build the future, and who will be left holding the blueprints of the past. The $15 billion Holy Grail. To understand this master plan, you have to look beyond the $15 billion headline. When the Canadian government and Honda executives stood on that stage in April 2024, they didn't just use the word factory. The precise term they used, again and again, was Canada's first comprehensive electric vehicle supply chain. Comprehensive is the key. This isn't just one big building. It is a four-layer, integrated ecosystem, a fortress. Layer 1 is the part everyone sees, the shiny object, a state-of-the-art multi-billion-dollar EV assembly plant capable of producing 240,000 electric vehicles per year. This is the roof of the house. Layer 2 is the massive standalone battery manufacturing facility built right next door. This is the engine room, but it's layers 3 and 4 where the real hidden strategy lies. This is the foundation. These are two new, separate, joint venture plants built in partnership with the world's best to produce the most critical, high-value components inside the battery. Layer 3, a new partnership with POSCO Future M, a South Korean chemical and materials giant. Their job? To build a new plant to produce cathode active materials, or CAM. This isn't a simple component. This is the advanced processed material that is the battery's power. It determines the range, the power, and the cost of the EV. Layer 4, a new partnership with Asahi Kasei, a Japanese technology powerhouse. Their job? To build a new plant for the battery separator. This is a high-tech membrane that, as the name suggests, separates the cathode and anode, preventing the battery from short-circuiting. Think about what this means. Honda, POSCO, and Asahi are not just assembling cars in Ontario. They are not shipping in parts from Asia. They are building the entire brain, the heart, and the circulatory system of the battery from scratch, all within a few square miles of each other. They are bringing the most complex, valuable, and secretive parts of the supply chain, the parts that almost always stay in Asia, and planting them in North America at scale for the first time. So why are they doing this? Why them? Why Ontario? The answer is not tariffs. The answer lies deep in the Canadian Shield. Canada is a natural resource superpower, but this isn't about oil and gas. This is about the new oil. According to Natural Resources Canada, the country is a world-class producer of nickel and cobalt. It holds some of the world's largest reserves of graphite, a critical anode material. And most importantly, it is a rising, stable, and ethically sourced power in lithium, with major mining projects coming online in Quebec and Ontario. This is the master plan in its entirety. This is the mine-to-vehicle strategy in action. The lithium is mined in Quebec. It's shipped to the new POSCO plant in Ontario to be turned into a cathode. It's moved next door to the Asahi Kasei plant for the separator. It's put into a battery at the new Honda battery facility. And it's installed in a finished EV at the new assembly plant. It is a completely closed, secure, and self-contained loop. A supply chain that is not only secure from geopolitics, but is also green. It's powered by Ontario's vast network of clean, low-cost hydroelectric and nuclear power. For a company like Honda, facing intense pressure from investors on ESG, environmental, social, and governance scores, this is a profound advantage. They get to build a green battery from start to finish. It is an offer that no one else in North America can possibly match, and it's all built on the one resource that has become more valuable, more precious than lithium or cobalt in the 21st century. Stability. Global corporations, who plan in decades, not four-year election cycles, are terrified of political whiplash. They are terrified of a sudden tweet that can change regulations overnight. They are terrified of a tariff that can wipe out $1 billion in profit. They are terrified of a political system that treats its allies like competitors. Canada has weaponized its own stability. It has weaponized its reputation for being boring. It has built an environment where a company like Honda can invest $15 billion, confident in the knowledge that the rules of the game will not be changed tomorrow. America's strategic vulnerability. Now contrast Canada's clear resource-based strategy with the situation in the United States. America has assembly plants. It has Tesla. It has Ford. It has General Motors. But America has a fatal strategic flaw, a vulnerability so deep, so pervasive, it threatens the entire future of its industrial and military independence. That flaw is dependence. Look at the numbers. They are not just bad, they are staggering. According to the U.S. Geological Survey's 2024 and 2025 reports, the United States is over 50% import dependent for 43 of the 50 minerals deemed critical to its economy. The headline number? The U.S. imports nearly 75% of its rare earth minerals directly from one country, China. But that's not even the real problem. The myth is that this is a mining problem, that America ran out of these minerals. The truth is that this is a processing problem. You see, the raw ore you pull from the ground is useless. It's a rock mixed with a dozen other minerals. It is worthless until it is refined. And that middle stage of the supply chain, that complex, dirty, and highly technical process of separating, purifying, and processing those minerals, is a global monopoly. According to the International Energy Agency, the IEA, China controls nearly 90% of the world's rare earth processing. They control over 80% of the global processing for lithium. They control over 80% of the global processing for cobalt. They control nearly 100% of the world's battery-grade graphite. Let's be perfectly clear so that everyone understands this. Even if you discovered the world's largest lithium deposit in California or Nevada tomorrow, you would still have to dig it up, put it on a boat, and send it to a chemical plant in China to be purified into battery-grade material. The U.S. outsourced this capability decades ago in the 1980s and 90s because it was dirty, toxic, and not profitable. And in doing so, America outsourced the kill switch for its entire green economy. And China knows it. They are no longer hiding the fact that they are willing and able to weaponize this dependence. In August of 2023, as reported by Reuters, China restricted the export of gallium and germanium. These are two minerals essential for semiconductors, for fiber optics, for advanced radar. The price of gallium spiked 50% almost overnight. Then, in December 2023, they did it again, imposing export controls on graphite, the single most important anode material in every EV battery. The message from Beijing was crystal clear, a shot fired across the bow of the global economy. We can, at any moment, turn off the tap. We can strangle your entire EV tech and defense industry, and there is nothing you can do about it. You cannot win the EV race if your opponent controls the gas. And critical minerals are the new oil. So how has American policy responded to this existential threat? With chaos, with confusion. First, tariffs. The tariffs on steel and autos did nothing to fix the mineral dependence. In fact, they did the opposite. They punished the allies, like Japan and South Korea, the very countries that build the batteries, like POSCO and Asahi Kasei, who we need to help us build an alternative, non-Chinese supply chain. Second, the Inflation Reduction Act, the IRA. The IRA is a powerful, historic piece of legislation, but it's like building a house from the roof down. It pours hundreds of billions of dollars into subsidies for consumers to buy EVs without first securing the supply chain to build them. It's like offering a massive subsidy for gasoline-powered cars, while knowing your only gas station is owned by your rival. It creates a massive artificial demand, but leaves the kill switch firmly in Beijing's hands. It is a policy that is all roof and no foundation. While America is stuck in political gridlock, stuck in endless legal battles and environmental debates about opening a single mine, Canada is signing multi-billion-dollar contracts to build the entire foundation. Canada's Encore strategy. This is where Canada's grand strategy, their shadow plan, comes into perfect focus. They are not trying to compete with China on scale. They know they can't. They are not trying to compete with America on market size. They know they don't have to. They are positioning themselves as something far more valuable, something essential. They are becoming the anchor. Canada's entire plan is to become the single, indispensable, non-negotiable provider of everything a 21st century industry needs to de-risk from China. Imagine you are the CEO of Honda or Toyota or Volkswagen. You sit down in a meeting. On one side, you have your China problem. Your supply chain is vulnerable. Your government at home is pressuring you to diversify. On the other side, you have the American IRA, a $7,500 per car subsidy, a market you cannot ignore. But there's a catch, a giant catch. To qualify for that $7,500 subsidy, the IRA mandates that a growing percentage of your batteries and minerals cannot come from China. They must be sourced or processed in North America or from a country that has a free trade agreement with the United States. You are trapped. The U.S. doesn't have the processing. China is forbidden. What do? And at that exact moment, Canada walks into the room, and their pitch is simple, and it is brilliant. So you want to build cars for that massive U.S. market? Wonderful. You want to qualify for those generous U.S. government IRA subsidies? We know you have a problem. You need a secure, stable, non-Chinese supply chain for your batteries. The U.S. doesn't have the processed minerals. China is forbidden. But we do. We are a U.S. free trade agreement partner. Our materials qualify. We have the lithium in Quebec. We have the nickel in Sudbury. We have the cobalt in Ontario. We have the graphite. We have the clean, cheap hydroelectric power to process it all right here and give you a green certified product. And most of all, we have the political stability. Our 30% tax credit is locked in. We are a predictable partner. Come here, build your entire supply chain from the mine to the car in one safe, secure, green, and politically stable place. We will be your anchor in North America. This is not a hypothetical. This is exactly what is happening. This is why Canada's own incentives, like their 30% clean technology manufacturing tax credit, are so surgically precise. They weren't designed to compete with the IRA. They were designed to be synergistic with it. The IRA, America, created the problem for automakers, no China. Canada's tax credits created the solution. The U.S. policy, in its haste to cut out China, accidentally created the single greatest business opportunity in Canadian history. America is building the roof. Canada is building the entire foundation, the walls, the plumbing, and the electrical. They are building the part of the house that actually holds everything up. This is why POSCO from Korea and Asahi Kasei from Japan chose Canada. They are not just following Honda. They are going to where the raw materials are. They are going to where the processing is being subsidized. This creates a fascinating and deeply ironic geopolitical outcome. In its desperate and necessary quest to de-risk from China, America is being forced to accept a brand new, profound strategic dependence on Canada. The future of the Made in America EV industry, an industry subsidized by hundreds of billions of U.S. taxpayer dollars, will be completely and totally reliant on batteries made in Canada, with minerals mined and processed in Canada. Canada has successfully and quietly used America's dependence on China as the ultimate geopolitical leverage for itself. It is a brilliant, quiet, and devastatingly effective masterstroke. The final calculation. Let's return to the beginning. The story of Honda's $15 billion investment was never about tariffs. That was the sideshow. That was the misdirection, the noise that kept everyone busy. The real story, the one that will be written in history books, is this shadow war. It is a quiet, strategic battle for the building blocks of the future. And the winner is not being decided by walls, but by foundations. While America was focused on building walls, Canada was focused on building a rock-solid foundation. While America was focused on protecting the industries of 1970, Canada was focused on capturing the industries of 2070. They used their political stability as a weapon. They used their clean energy as a lure. And they used their vast natural resources as the ultimate prize. They looked at America's two biggest problems, its dependence on China and its political chaos, and turned them into their two greatest assets. They have built a perfect mind-to-vehicle ecosystem that no one else in the West can match. Honda's $15 billion deal. That wasn't the start of this strategy. That was the capstone. That was the final, validating proof for the rest of the world to see that the plan had already worked. This war for minerals is the most critical battle of our time. It will define industrial power for the next century, but it is not the only front where misguided policy is crippling American industry. There is another, more immediate crisis where this same focus on short-term tariffs is creating a devastating backfire for the American heartland. An industry just as critical as batteries, farming. To understand how these same policies are bankrupting American farmers, click here to watch our next investigation, The Great Backfire, How U.S. Tariffs Are Crushing the American Farmer. This brings us to our final and most important question, a question for you. As we enter this new, volatile decade, what do you believe is the single greatest threat to America's economic dominance? Is it the political instability and chaos we see at home? Or is it our catastrophic, decades-long failure to secure the raw materials of the future? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.